Thank you. Madam Speaker, thank you very much for this opportunity to contribute to this debate this evening. Give Almighty God thanks, Madam Speaker, for allowing me to be above ground, as Mama would say, as I continue to say in what I believe is the greatest nation on earth, the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And I am equally grateful, Madam Speaker, to the people of the great constituency of St. Barnabas and the residents in the communities of the Coconut Grove, Big Pond, Black Village, Rock Crusher, and Oakville for giving me this great opportunity to represent them for a second consecutive term. It is something that I continue to be humbled by and continue to marvel and thank Almighty God that I've been given this opportunity. Madam Speaker, I intend to be very, very brief, or brief, I should say. I intend to be very brief, Madam Speaker. These compendium of bills, I do support, Madam Speaker. It is often said in here in many different ways, but it has been said literally that governments are continuous, which means, as is said also, Madam Speaker, that some reap and some sow. And so the work of the Minister's administration on this court services bill has been well recorded, and so commend the government for bringing our work to fruition, and that's sometimes how it is, Madam Speaker. This is important for the autonomy of the judiciary that allows for the more efficient and more effective administration of justice in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, Madam Speaker. And I believe it will go a long way in meeting some of the challenges that have been expressed for many years and many decades, not only by legal practitioners in the country, but ordinary Bahamians who they themselves see the need for these changes, or necessary changes, have been needed for a long, long time, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, as I weave into the merits and validity of these number of bills, just a few things I would like to mention here, Madam Speaker, this afternoon. Madam Speaker, and the member for Kalani talked about this particular issue of crime in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, we have been incessant and continuous in our agitation that the government has failed to lead as it relates to having a substantive and comprehensive plan on crime in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, Madam Speaker. And Madam Speaker, it became apparent to the people of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas very early that this government did not have a plan, and nor does it seem that they are serious about coming up with a substantive plan to address this issue of crime in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. This weekend, Madam Speaker, sadly, the country recorded its 96th murder in 2023, and we pray and hope, Madam Speaker, that it stops there. Madam Speaker, last year, unfortunately, the Commonwealth of the Bahamas recorded 128 murders. So in the last 23 months, Madam Speaker, there have been 224 murders, 224 murders in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas in the last 23 months, Madam Speaker. Unfortunately, Madam Speaker, that is not something to brag about, but it is something that we must deal with collectively as a people. And all we have been asking is for the government to lead in a way that would ensure a substantive, all-inclusive crime plan, Madam Speaker. 23 months, 224 murders in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And while that should be alarming now, it should have been alarming in March of last year when we recorded the highest murder count in a particular month. And if I'm not mistaken, Madam Speaker, that was 22 in the month of March. Subsequent to that month, the opposition would have presented to the government 40 recommendations, short-term, medium-term, and long-term, suggestions, policies, measures that we feel at a minimum, ought to be a part of the discourse that not only includes the opposition, but should include various stakeholders. But after that, Madam Speaker, there has not been one peep from the government in terms of engaging the opposition or engaging all of the various stakeholders, Madam Speaker, in that regard. And so, Madam Speaker, the government, as is the case with other aspects of this administration, must be held to account with their failure on the crime front, Madam Speaker. Their failure not to lead on this particular issue. Madam Speaker, also, Madam Speaker, where the government has clearly been failing, Madam Speaker, is on infrastructure in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. As we speak, unless something has changed in the last hour, the people in Salina Point, Acklins, have been without power for the last 4 days. I say again, if something has not changed in the last hour, the people of Salina Point have been without power for the last 4 days, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I said a number of times on my feet here that ever since this government came to office, BPL has not been the same. And what that has meant for the Bahamian people, in this case, is power outages for long hours, power outages for days. It's inconceivable in 2023 that there are our people, Bahamian people, in Salina Point, Acklins, without power for 4 days. And the government must be held accountable for that, just like they should be held accountable for the fact that the increase in light bills can be put squarely at their feet, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, unfortunately, it's not only the people of Acklins. The people of Eleuthera have been talking about the lack of water, about the lack of electricity. The people in Harbour Island, they are pleading for answers as businesses, tourist-oriented businesses, tourist-focused businesses are being impacted, where tourists have to be compensated because they have not been able to take showers and flush their toilets. As we speak, no water, issues with light, the island of Eleuthera. The people of Eleuthera continue to believe that this government does not care about the island of Eleuthera. That's what they continue to believe, Madam Speaker. That's what they believe because the government has not shown, in their view, any serious attempt to alleviate these concerns about lack of water supply and lack of power supply. This is 2023. The people of Acklins, Salina Point, have not had power for 4 days and counting. 4 days, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, Additionally, on the Louisville and Harbor Island, the clinic, the generator is not working, the AC is not working, the morgue is down, Speaker, generator not working, AC not working, the morgue is down. Water and sewage, water's off every day, and sometimes off for days, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, there are also some issues with the Harbor Island All-Age School, and I would hope that the member for Angliston and the Minister of Education would have been made aware, and probably is aware, that people are concerned about the condition of the school, issues with rodents, and just other major issues there at the all-age school, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I also stood on my feet on a number of occasions to lament what has been continuously expressed by the Bahamian people about this issue of cashless systems at road traffic, at Carmichael and Fort Charlotte. I remember the first time I stood on my feet and I talked about the fact that a government office, in my view, it is wrong and should not be refusing legal tender in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. To credit, member for Cat Island, Rumkey, and San Salvador, the Prime Minister, said that he doesn't agree with that. Since that time, I've stood on my feet a number of times to express it, not through the political vein, but the many thousands of Bahamians that obviously would like to use these government services. And that has not changed. The Sports Center, yes, but that's one. Take cash at the Sports Center, but that's even a practical problem. If everybody, or you have the large amounts of person go into the Sports Center, that becomes the issues and why the lines are long. Just imagine if you took cash at Fort Charlotte and Michael, then it would actually help with efficiency. But I believe it's fundamentally wrong that we are not accept legal tender at a government office in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. You know, private business, obviously, a perspective would be adjusted because it's a private business. When it comes to government services, many poor people don't have the ability to have a debit card or to have an account. Madam Speaker, I hear the member talking about the Sports Center. Yes, you can say go to the Sports Center. I'm not saying that there isn't a place where you can't pay cash. I believe that it should not be limited to the Sports Center. Isn't this about making things easier for the Bahamian people? Make it more efficient for the Bahamian people? The government taxing them like crazy, so make things easier for the Bahamian people. And speaking about road traffic, I went there early this week to license my vehicle. And it's still mind-boggling to me, Madam Speaker. The inspectors who are out there, one plastic desk. And I told them that I would do this today because it's important. They have no shelter, Madam Speaker. They're out there. If it rains, they got to run for the hills to find shelter while they're trying to provide a much-needed service to the public. But there ain't even a shack. There's not even a shack. Madam Speaker, you know, you can't be government 2 years in. 2 years in. Madam Speaker, 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 help me out, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I can't hear myself speak, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, you know, I thought, Madam Speaker, governments get elected. Governments get elected to fix problems, not to point out problems. And look, 2 years back, they are the government. They are the government. And what you're saying to me is that you have public service workers who provide a service to the Bahamian people sitting outside in the elements, and they don't have a shack, they don't have a place to put all of their tools for work and all of the various things that they need and paperwork that they need on a daily basis. But yet the government's response is, yes, we need to get to that. The government's response is, well, it was always like that. Why y'all ain't fix it? Sure. Y'all in the government. And if y'all want us to fix it, then, you know, when we get elected again, then we'll fix it again. You know? So, Madam Speaker, there's a saying that excuses are tools of incompetence that build monuments of nothingness. And those that use them seldom achieve anything. Excuses, excuses, excuses. So 2 years in, instead of this guy standing up and saying, you know what, to the people out there, the public service workers out there, we're going to put you under adequate shelter because you sitting out in the elements to serve the public is not a good thing. This government continues to point fingers instead of taking responsibility. Madam Speaker. Now you see, from what I hear, I like that. They say you'll see. That's even a better response versus pointing the finger. All right? So, Madam Speaker, not wanting to take responsibilities, Madam Speaker. So, Madam Speaker, there's another issue again, Madam Speaker, that I've spoken about, that I believe and I hope that we all can agree on, and hopefully the government doesn't say that we didn't do anything about it. But I think it's something that's very important. That is the beach access in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas and the growing and vexing issue for Bahamians. The growing and vexing issue. This is very relevant. This is important to the Bahamian people. Thank you, Madam Speaker. The growing issue of beach access in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, it continues still to be a vexing problem. There are a number, Madam Speaker, issues on particular easements that require, unfortunately, I guess you would say fortunately, requires the court's intervention, Madam Speaker. And so I believe that it's very, very important because gone are the days, unfortunately, where you were able to take your family to one of those public access points and get to the beach to enjoy a good time with your family, Madam Speaker. Right? So, Madam Speaker, again, the government continues not wanting to take responsibility, Madam Speaker, as they continue to point fingers. Turn on the light in Acklands. Fix the light in Acklands. Fix the light in the Lutheran. Turn on the water in the Lutheran. Fix it. Fix it. Fix it. Fix it. 224 murders in 23 months. Fix it. You are the government. It's 2 years. No more excuses. No more excuses. Fix it. Fix it. Fix it. We've been talking about these roads, the things that matter to the Bahamian people. You need to fix it. The things that matter to the Bahamian people. All the promises y'all made to the people in West Grand Bahama and Bimini, they're waiting on them. They're waiting on them. And Madam Speaker, the government, yeah, but then you stop me, man. You stop me, right? Madam Speaker, speaking about that, right? I know, I guess the government, Madam Speaker, I guess they think that we're not going to talk about this by-election in any kind of way. Yeah. Well, here's the thing, Madam Speaker, at the end of the day, the democracy of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas is strong. The democracy of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas is strong. Now, the government, you can see, based on their posture and their agitation, the things they've said, has just seen this as a political exercise and not a governing exercise. Because based on the count to date, they've promised the people in West Grand Bahama and Bimini some total of $40 million in promises and different things that they say they would do. 400 million, Madam Speaker. Millions in home repairs, are they waiting on that? New school, they waiting on that. New airport. And if the member for West Grand Bahama, the member-elect, was here today, he would be able to accentuate what I'm saying. But he's not here today. So on behalf of the people of West Grand Bahama and Bimini, they're waiting for the millions of dollars in home repairs, the new school, right? New school, new airport. Y'all promised a defense force base in West End, new police station in West End, right? New resort in Boodle Bay. What else? Base in Bimini. Base in Bimini. New dock in West End. Affordable housing project in West End. New roads on Bimini and all roads in Bimini, right? Madam Speaker, 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 Madam Speaker. No matter how the government tries, Madam Speaker, no matter how the government tries, and they can feel a certain way about the by-election and its results. And guess what, Madam Speaker? To the victor goes the spoils. You have the right, if you will, to embrace the by-election in a certain way, or you can embrace it in the way that a real government should. And all of those promises, that they've made to the Bahamian people. But Madam Speaker, just like the people in Salina Point, Auckland, right now, without electricity for 4 days, not 1 day, not 2 days, not 3 days, 4 days and counting. 4 days in the counting. The people of West Grand Bahama and Bimini waiting to see if the promises that they've been made to them will be filled, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I got 15 minutes, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I am very grateful. Madam Speaker, I am very grateful for this opportunity to speak on behalf of the Bahamian people and the people of St. Barnabas. But as much as this government, they can try to avoid it, Madam Speaker, the Bahamian people are dissatisfied. This government has failed them in many regards, right? When have you seen a headline that says a tax break for Bahamians? Not under this government. All you've seen is taxes, taxes, taxes for this government. Madam Speaker, so now they talk about minimum wage. Madam Speaker, for 25 years, Madam Speaker, for 25 years, the PLP did not establish minimum wage. So this thing that we increased minimum wage, where were you all for 25 years? Nowhere to be found. And y'all say y'all love the Bahamian wake up? Where were you all for 25 years? Thank you very much. So now we can move on. Yes, but before you move on, 25 years, where were you all for 25 years? Where were you? No, where were you for 25 years? Huh? I'm talking about the government, the PLP, the party. Okay. So you thank us. So you thank us for establishing? You thank us for establishing? So Madam Speaker, even as we look at recognizing Women's Week, we pay tribute, Madam Speaker. We pay tribute to persons like yourself, Madam Speaker, truly persons like yourself and the other women in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, not only in politics, but across the Bahamian society, who have sacrificed, who have been diligent, who've empowered themselves and made a significant contribution to the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, and all of the women in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas that adds to the cultural strength and the cultural identity of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Madam Speaker, I've been very fortunate to grow up with 8 aunts, and so I indeed, from my personal vantage point, Madam Speaker, can appreciate a woman's work and a woman's worth, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I tip my hat and salute to all of the great women, all of the great women from the constituency in St. Barnabas. We are very proud of Her Excellency Cynthia Pratt, the recently appointed Governor General, who of course is a well-known constituent of mine from St. Barnabas. And so we salute her as well, and we continue to extend our prayers for her on her return to the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, as I take my seat, Madam Speaker, I will go to where I started, and that is the Bahamian people are suffering under this government. And no matter how they try to convince themselves, the taxes and the roads and the electricity and the no water, fundamental things that the Bahamian people require. It's relevant to the Bahamian people who asked me to make sure I come here and say this today. People are hurting in this country, Madam Speaker. They are hurting. Taxes gone to bed. Electricity bills have gone up by 163%. 163%. And I know, and I challenge any member in here to say that they have no issues with what's going on with electricity in this country. I challenge any member to stand up right now and say your constituent can be all right. I challenge any member. I challenge any member to say that it's all right what's going on with the people down in Auckland, no water for 4 days. I challenge any member to talk to the people of Eleuthera and say what they're experiencing is a good thing, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and St. Barnabas supports these compendium of bills. Thank you.